All right. It's your boy, comedian Leon the Jokester here. Hi, man. So I just wanted to do this video kind of like just a moment of just excuse me, just rest. Um, as many of you guys know, I've been on this comedy tour God put together. It wasn't me, it was all God. And so gotta give credit where credit's due. Man, we got a chance to go all over. I tell people, it's not a real comedy tour until you leave your state. Okay, I just want to put it out there. Sometimes people think, well, I do about 7, 8, 9 shows in my city. No, that's not the tour. A tour is when you get to travel elsewhere. So it's not a secret. If you go to my Instagram page, you will see that my wife was my driver. She was my tour bus driver, and we had our car and we went to Kansas. We went to Missouri. We went to Arkansas. We went to all kinds of places. I got a chance to fly on the airplane, 31,000 feet in the air, writing jokes for a show that I was booked for in Austin, Texas. I had never been to Austin, and I was just amazed at what God did because, one thing I tell young comics, I say, man, focus on the quality of your jokes and your material rather than the quantity. We live in a generation now where people don't want to take advice from other people. Like, I know it all. What can you teach me? But that's a bad mentality to have because one thing I've learned with comedy, it takes years of experience. It takes years to continue to get on that stage, continue to jump on them open mics, and until you get to that next level. And to be honest with you, you will forever be a student of comedy if you stick with it because you're always learning something new, always tweaking something to make your set better. And so um, it's just amazing to me, man. Like the best part of the tour was that my family was able to go with me. This isn't one of those Hollywood dreams of I travel the world alone and do whatever I want with the money and blah blah blah. Nah, my family's with me, and that's what is my highlight of the comedy tour. One thing I disliked about the tour was um, I dislike it, but I dislike this situation, but I learned from it was that you always have to have a contract whenever doing business with people, whether they're black, white, Hispanic, Asian, doesn't matter the skin tone or what your background is, ethnic group, you have to have a contract. And I dropped the ball the first few times because people got over on me. But after I sat down with my wife and I said, okay, we're gonna draw this comedy contract out, and from now on, if anyone it doesn't agree with it, and then we will not do the show. Point blank. And it actually ended up working in our favor that every time we presented our contract from Pearly Group Management LLC, um, 24 hours later, we got an email or a phone call. Hey, miraculously, we found the extra money you were requesting. Because one thing you have to understand about we live in America, it's capitalism. We already know. You find something you're good at, you capitalize on it, and you make money from it. That's America. Um, I tell people, and I would continue to tell people for the rest of my life as I do continue to do comedy, that when you book a comedian, right? I'm not just talking about me, but when you book a comedian, remember you're not booking them for the stage time. You're booking them for the years of experience. So if you book someone and you're thinking, oh, I could just pay them $500 for 20 minutes, you need to reevaluate what comedy is all about. You need to ask the person, how many years have you been doing this? Because that's going to tell you a lot. Do you have any references? That's going to tell you a lot. Do you have a YouTube page where I can actually check out some of your material? That's going to say a lot. And so I'm just very, very humbled and very honored at the fact that, you know, God saw fit to help me out. You know what I'm saying? Who am I? So, what else? Oh yeah, let me tell you guys about divine intervention with comedy. All right. Let me tell you about divine intervention invention with comedy, and then I'm gonna close. All right. I gotta get my tissue out just because I have to blow my nose, man. Because one thing about Oklahoma, like the allergies, man, you just sit down somewhere. I was totally fine, and then I just sat down, and then the allergy, you get that tickle in the back of your throat. You're like, what? But it's okay. I got my tissue, and I'm not afraid to use it. But yeah, my divine intervention. Oh man, God, He really, really answered my prayers. I was praying and seeking Him for so many different things, and He answered all of them. And there's just the way that it happened. It was just like so organic. Let me start with the fact that I did a comedy show to end the comedy tour actually last night. Yeah, we ended the comedy tour last night. We have been on tour since January 2022, and now it's May 2022. We've been to a lot of places. If you've been following me on Instagram, you saw me in those different places. It was fun. I had never ever experienced anything like that in my entire career. Um, I think the coolest part was the plane because my wife trusted that I could get to Texas and find my way around. And shout out to everybody at the Austin, Texas airport, man, because you guys definitely know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like as a vision impaired individual, you definitely were able to get me in that wheelchair. I skipped past all the celebrities or anybody that was in that long line. I know somebody famous was in that line. And then got me on my plane, man. Let me board the plane first. And I just felt very comfortable, very safe. And then my wife was there to pick me up. And when she picked me up, I got an email. It was amazing because as soon as my plane landed, I checked my emails and I had an email that a community college had booked me for the fall 2022. And so I'm excited about that. You know, people always say, ask, like, what's next? What's next? Well, to be honest with you, this summer, I'm going to take some time off, spend some time with my family. My wife is a school teacher, and anyone that knows anything about the school system, you teach fall and spring, and you're off for the summer. So I'm going to enjoy the summer with my family, man, because that's the most important thing. I always say that it's God first, then my family, then ministry, and comedy falls under ministry. And I never get that out of order because when you get that out of order, your life will be out of order. There's a lot of comedians out there that have put comedy first. And then if you look at their life, it's like, why are you an alcoholic? Why are you using drugs? Oh, why? Oh, I'm depressed. That's why I tell jokes. It's like, y'all need to calm down. Y'all need to calm down and refocus. But you know, they know I'm a Christian, so nobody's gonna listen to me. They don't listen to me till they're on their deathbed or after they're dead. Then it's like, hey, what church did that Leon the jokester guy go to so we can have the funeral? And so give me 1 second, you guys. It's saying that my battery's about to die, so let me plug this up because I'm not doing. I gotta share a testimony with you guys, and so after I share this testimony, then I'll be done. See, maybe the devil didn't want me to share it. That's the reason why all of a sudden when I log on, that's when it's like, oh, the computer's gonna die now. Nah, devil, you can't die on my watch. Like my laptop is good. So we just gonna hook it up. We're gonna hook it up, man. All right, now watch this. I'm gonna go plug my stuff in. I think we should be good. I'm still with you guys. Just had to go blow my nose. Okay. You see how easy that was? I just had to I just had to get reconnected. I'm still with you guys. God is good. All right, here we go. All right, man. So yeah, man, I was telling you guys about divine intervention. So this is what God does. I'm gonna tell you the importance of quality versus quantity. A lot of times in comedy, people feel the need to focus more on quantity. You'll see it on social media where the comedian is like, "Yo, I got 30 shows. I got 30 shows. But when it comes to the quality of their material, their content on stage, it's not worth anything. There's no substance. It's just this fleshly type of material where it's like the first three comics will get on stage and ask stupid questions like, anybody here smoke weed? Anybody here pop pills? And so after you hear three or four comics get up there and say the same thing, you could tell that they're all stuck in the same mindset. You know what I'm saying? And for those that actually do their homework and take it comedy to the next level, it boosts their confidence before they hit the stage because they're like, "This is what I'm going against," and it's not really a competition, but it's competition. Let's keep it real. So yeah, so back to like divine intervention. So, God said focus more on quality. So that means I may only have 5 shows booked for 5 months, one show a month. But the reality check is 3 weeks out of that month, I'm writing, I'm practicing, rehearsing, and then I'm performing. And I think right there, you're going to have a really, really great show because it would have given you time to customize the set. It would have given you time to really reevaluate topics that you can address. And I think that that's important because think about it. If you focus more on how many shows you book and less on the material, then you'll end up just being up there, blah, blah, blah. And a lot of times, comedians aren't even using joke structure. So there's no possible way you're really going to get the laughs that you think. You'll get some chuckles, you'll get a few laughs, but then afterwards you would say, oh, it was a rough set, or that crowd was weird, or you're just like making all these excuses, but it's really up to you because man, like when I tell you every show God has opened up for me, we've been killing. And I know it's not me because I know how I was when I first started. But now I don't know, man. Like, of course, practice, reading books, um, taking seminars, public speaking classes. I mean, there's things that you need to be doing that most comedians won't invest in themselves, but yet they think Netflix is going to invest in them. So I don't know how that works, but what Netflix is looking for is someone who has a lot of views so then they can make money off of them. The only way you're going to have a lot of views is if you have a strong fan base. And the only way you're going to have a strong fan base is if you can constantly kick out new material. So it's no longer the 80s or the 90s or early 2000s where your favorite comedian was sneaky. They were actually being lazy. They would write a set for 60 minutes and then they would do that same set for years until they got really, really good at it. So by the time you heard it, it was like, oh my goodness, it's super polished. Well, the issue with that now with social media, everybody is uploading those performances. So what happens is they've already heard your material. So then you're like, okay, why did they just perform the same jokes the next year and the next year and the next year? And it gets old and redundant. And my favorite comedian of all time in the secular realm is Mike Epps. In the Christian realm is Michael Jr. And in the secular realm, Mike Epps, people are always making fun of him because they say, man, this dude hasn't changed his jokes for like 15 years. And it's true. If you really pay attention to Mike Epps, he's really saying the same stuff. He just switches the set around. And the thing about it is, once you start making millions of dollars telling jokes, you kind of get a little lazy because you're like, man, I'm sitting on like 7 figures, bro. And so it's like, why should I sit down and write all of this extra material for some people? I could just keep doing the same stuff they got me to 7 figures. But that's where you're wrong. I feel like with Mike Epps, I know he's like early 50s. He should have been focusing on that more than the sitcoms and everything else because, we want to hear new stuff. And yeah, he'll throw in a new joke here and there. But for the most part, he's always upset that everyone's filming his stuff. We'll take some of their money, like Chris Rock and Kevin Hart's doing, and make people lock their phones up. Then start writing new stuff. I noticed that some of the comedians are getting lazy. There's another one from Florida, Lil Duval. He's gotten so lazy. He's no longer really writing jokes on the stage. He's actually just saying, "Hey, I did 5 jokes. Now I want to turn up. Listen to my 4 rap songs." And you're just like, okay, you are not a rapper. You did make a lot of money off of living my best life, but the thing about it is that's not what made you. You are where you're at, not as a musician, as a comedian. But a lot of times these comedians are not really working hard. Anyone can get on stage and curse everybody out. Anybody can get on stage and talk about drugs, sex jokes. All that stuff is just redundant, bro. But when you find someone that can keep it clean for 60 minutes, the money just keeps flowing because every gala, every conference, every youth ministry, every church, everybody's looking for that. Now, I'm not saying every church is going to say yes because they've even told me no as a Christian comedian. But what I can say this though, stay humble, keep working. The word's gonna spread. Focus on quality, not quantity. That's why I could take the whole summer and concentrate on writing for schools because what I'm gonna do is this college show that I have. I'm gonna write like it's nobody's business. That's all I'm gonna do. I'm gonna wake up, get some breakfast, and get to writing. I'm gonna have like 100 topics, and I'm gonna just write setups and punches, and I'm gonna make sure my stuff is tight. When I hit that stage, I'm hitting that stage with man. That's gonna be the hottest 60 minutes. So watch this. I'm gonna tell you how God intervened. This is all spiritual, bro. Thank you, Lord. It's crazy. For the last year, I've been looking for a videographer. Straight up, I've been looking for a videographer, and I said, "Man, who can I use? I mean, I can't find anybody." And I've been to churches, I've done church shows, I've done secular shows, and people act like they know, they don't know, they give you the runaround, like nobody knows a videographer, but you see their pages with videographers. I said, man, this is weird. So I called this one guy that goes to my church, right? Really, really cool guy. And uh, hold on. Okay. I called this guy and then he was cool. And then he told me to call another guy, like email the other guy. So I emailed the other videographer because I guess they work as a team. And so the guy never got back to me. I was like, that's weird. So actually today I was at church and guess who runs right into me? I mean, he gives me a big hug. I didn't even know who it was at first that he backed up. And it was the guy, the videographer guy. He didn't say nothing about the emails or nothing. I was like, okay, I see what we're doing. So he's not interested. Or he may think I can't afford what he's going to charge. I don't know. But I'm gonna tell you something. How you know the doors that God has for you, the open doors. They're open. They're for you, and you gotta walk through those. Don't try to force someone else that to open up a door when God has you over here in this perfect spot. So watch this. Last night I do a comedy show right for one of my barbers, and uh this guy comes up to me. His name was Rob. Shouts out to Rob. And he's the not only the photographer but the videographer for the night. And so we hit it off. We talking, chopping up. Black dude with dreads. I said, okay. And next thing I know, I asked him. I said, "Hey man, do you film like videos and stuff?" He said, "Yeah, bro, we do it all, and I'll charge you a good price too and everything." I said, "Man, that answered to my prayers." So that was one and another prayer that was answered by God, spiritual, like divine intervention. Then another thing happened at the show. Um, I met this lady named Patricia, phenomenal woman of God, just on fire for Christ, great ministry. She's been traveling all around the world, Africa, Louisiana, California, everywhere, right? Apparently, her daughter owns the venue. Guess what? When I shoot my comedy special, I'm gonna need a venue. I can book it there now. I could book it there now. So I could book the venue there. 30 seats. That's all you need for a comedy special anyway. And it's mostly going to be people that you know. So you ain't gonna have no strangers at your comedy special, just in case. So just make sure that the people that come out or people that are gonna be ready to laugh at your stuff, and then that way it's filmed professionally and yeah, yeah. So you're gonna have, so now I got the venue, I have the uh I have I have an area where you can have food catered, and then I also have the videographer, like I pray for, and then Miss Patricia said that, you know what, man of God, talking to me, she said I can use you already. Already know where I can put you. We could do a jazz show together. We have jazz, and then you come and do the comedy. We could do a women's conference. You know what I'm saying? And you could do the comedy. Like I'm gonna use your spiritual gifts because I see that the church isn't always trying to book you and always trying to use you. And I said, man, that was another prayer answered, spirit divine intervention, because God knows my heart. I just want to get out there and keep doing shows and blessing people. But sometimes when you're in ministry, mega churches, they get focused on who they want to rock with. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw Pastor Michael Todd, he just invited Fred Hammond to the church. Well, just a few weeks ago, Fred Hammond was on Kevo Stages in his studio, Kevo Stages studio, and so that's how they rock. Like when people get to that celebrity status. So I'm gonna tell you how it works. So Michael Todd saw that interview with Fred Hammond on Kevin Stage's page. Then what happens is Michael Todd will call Fred Hammond. Fred Hammond shows up at the church. They pay him well. He's a legend in the game. So then I go to a church, a mega church, where the senior pastor is good friends with Michael Todd. So what will happen is he got money, they got money, they get Fred Hammond come over to our church. You see how it works? So it becomes like a deal where it's like, okay, Craig Rochelle will get invited to Michael Todd's church, and Michael Todd will get invited to Craig Rochelle's church. Craig Rochelle will book Stephen Furtick, and Stephen Furtick will book Craig Rochelle. Craig Rochelle could book Bishop T.D. Jakes. T.D. Jakes will book Gerald Bevere. You see how it works? It's like the Christian elite where they all make six figures. They all make millions of dollars. There are books or in Christian bookstores. Like it's a different level. So when it comes to the people in the congregation saying, "Hey, Pastor, you're preaching about spiritual gifts being used. Can you use me?" No, because you don't make six figures. So it's favoritism. It is. It's favoritism. And is God pleased with favoritism? Absolutely not. He's no respecter of person, the Bible says. But what happens is the flashy lights on stages, look like you're at a rock star concert, millions of dollars coming in. You know, you start feeling yourself. I know if I had millions of dollars in my account and I was a pastor, I'd probably do the same exact stuff megachurch pastors do. I probably would have a house in a gated community. I probably would drive a Mercedes Benz. I probably would tell people that, hey, God wants to bless you just like He blessed us. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a different mindset. Some of these churches are bringing in 50,000 a weekend. You know what I'm saying? How you make six figures every month? That's a lot of money. You can do whatever you want. But the reality check is that doesn't mean everybody's in the will of God. You know what I'm saying? Just like everybody says, oh, we're all God's children. No, we're all God's creation. The only people that are God's children are the ones that repented for their sins and received Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. So don't get that twisted, man. So that's why a lot of times people get hurt by the church because the church they didn't utilize us the way that they should have. Because we're reading the scriptures and it says clear as day that God wants to use our spiritual gifts. And come on, man, we know that the secular world isn't going to rock with us like that. So, senior pastors should wake up out of the spiritual stupor and say, "Yeah, why would Jay Z and Beyonce book you? You're a Christian, so you need to come to us, and then you can do what you need to do on stage here." They don't think like that. And that's the reason why God gave me Mark 16:15, go into all the world, and preach the gospel of Jesus Christ to every creature. And so that's what I'm doing, bro. That's why you find me all kinds of different places. I don't mess around because I'm getting older. I'm about to be 39. Like I'm not gonna be sitting up here waiting for a senior pastor especially a young senior pastor, to give me an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? They out shopping, wearing Gucci. This go to the Instagram. It's on Preacher Sneakers. Type in Preacher Sneakers and you'll see how much your favorite megachurch pastor spends on a shirt and shoes for every sermon every week. That's a lot of tithes and offering. So don't tell me that, oh, well, God's not going to bless me. He's not going to bless you if you don't give. That's nonsense because during the pandemic, the churches were closed and the jobs were closed because of COVID-19. Was God not blessing us still? I was super blessed in my home. I don't even care what anybody says. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not hurt by the church or bitter by the church. Like, I go to a mega church right now. You know, I went back to a church that, you know, I had went through some rough times, and the pastor, he knew what he did about as far as my comedy career is concerned. He chose to go with comedian John Chris, and then 3 months later, John Chris fell into like a sex scandal through texting and stuff. And so the pastor knew he had done wrong. He jumped off the stage after a sermon, gave me a big hug, and we made, you know, amends for you know, the situation. And so it's all love to him, it's all love to me, and we moved on. And I actually just returned my family back to the church. Great church, man. They do a great job preaching the gospel and stuff, bro. I can't take that away from them. I wouldn't be sitting under anybody who didn't preach the full gospel of Jesus Christ. He comes straight from the Bible. Now, sometimes he does throw in a little psychology gospel, but then again, I mean, there's no such thing as a perfect church. His two favorite pastors is Joel Osteen and Stephen Furtick, so I can understand where he's going to get some of that psychology type, because I know when you grew up in the church, you know when someone got that apostle type of sermon versus someone saying hope, dreams, Willy Wonka schemes, and then it's like God's gonna bless you, prosperity. And so, you know, when you hear that stuff, it's kind of like eat the bone. I mean, eat the chicken, but spare out the bones. But anyway, man, spiritual intervention is real. Divine intervention is real, man. Just wait on the Lord. I'm so thankful that I did that show last night because by doing that show, it allowed God to move through, like the lady I said, Patricia, wanting to book me for future shows this fall. We already got some shows booked for this fall. I'll be going to Thrive Community Church in Oklahoma City this fall. I'll be going to a community college the end of September. Asbury Church booked me for like a first week of December. It's either December 6th or December 9th. I gotta check my calendar. But we got stuff ahead of us, bro. And sometimes people may think like, well, that's only 3 or 4 shows, but that's okay because I'd rather spend the whole summer writing some of the best jokes ever heard in the church and really touch everybody's heart and add my scriptures in between and just really, really like be on fire. And so, because comedy in me is like a sermon now. So if I got a whole hour sermon and I got jokes in there and you got the word, oh, that's gonna bless their hearts because I've already been doing it. And so contracts have been signed. Some of them already paid me ahead of time. We're just waiting on a date. Others already got the checks ready. So God's doing big things, bro. He's doing big things. So what I'm gonna do is, from now on, when I do these shows, I'm gonna just start calling my boy Rob, and I'm gonna say, "Yo, show up at this event and just start filming me, and kind of start documenting what I'm doing." And then what I'm gonna do is put that. Man, I'm so excited. I'm so excited, bro. This is what I've been believing God for, man. I've been believing God for a videographer, and He put Rob there, bro. Rob came through, bro, and he's a black dude, bro. And I'm not on some like, yo, a white dude can't film me because the two dudes that were supposed to get back to me, they were both white, super white, mayonnaise, white glue. But nah, man, they just never got back to me. That's why he gave me a big hug and just floated out of my arms. I say it's cool, bro. It's black excellence. God to put who's supposed to work with me in my past. So that's what He did. God did it, bro. God did it. He sent Rob, and you know, we hit it off, bro. I didn't know what his angle was when I first met him. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't know what his deal was. He was like talking to me, and he was just kind of standing there, and we kept talking. And before I knew it, I found out who he was. I was like, oh snap! And so I said, bro, you film like you film too? He said, yeah, bro. I do the edits and everything. And see, the thing about me, I don't need him to do anything too special. All I need him to do is record me on stage. That's it. I mean, there's no edits to me being on stage. Like if he wants to do like a small little documentary about my life and just kind of me talking and stuff like I'm doing now, I'll pay him for that. But to be honest with you, if he just shows up at the venue and just start filming and get the whole atmosphere of what I'm doing, man, we'll start sending that out to management companies. And you know what I'm saying? I got my own management company because I'm independent. But let's be honest, bro. The way you get to the next level, you gotta eventually, you don't gotta sign another contract, but you eventually gotta do some networking. So if I start sending some performances that shows that, yo, I can hang in that Looney Bin Comedy Club. Don't get it twisted. Like check my resume, and it's only gonna get better because I'm about to, man. When I tell you I'm writing some next level stuff, bro, it's like the build up is just crazy, bro. It's so crazy. We gonna be on Dry Bar next year. I already talked to the guy about that. It's like God is opening doors, bro, and this is that season, bro. And so, shouts out to Rob, shouts out to Patricia, because we about to do some shows this fall. You guys say, hey, I'm giving you the summer. You've done the tour, you got everything. You made money, you saved money, you done the tour, you went shopping with your mother-in-law, you signed autographs. Shouts out to Believers Church. People was asking for autographs and pictures, and I was just like, man, I don't want to be famous. Yeah, I do this for Jesus. And so, but I understand when people see that you're performing at a high level, they start seeing you as their version of Kevin Hart. I'm doing it for Jesus. So, they're like, man, well, this is the guy. And that's why I like Michael Jr. because even though he's in his 50s, I think he's 50, 51, he understands. Like, because he'll click like on some of my stuff. He understands that he's getting older. And so, you know, I'm about to be 39. And so he can either like connect with me now. I'd rather him do it now than later because I don't want it to be a deal where when I'm out there and I'm hot and then he's like, yo, now I want to reach out. I don't like it when people do stuff like that. If you have an opportunity and you see potential in someone now, go ahead and move on that now. But it's no rush, man. It's no biggie. We out here grinding, taking to the next level. But it's about to get turned up, bro. It's about to get turned up, bro. I ain't begging no churches anymore. I'm gonna start researching black churches. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be honest with you, I've been reaching out to a lot of white churches, bro. I've been reaching out to a lot of white churches. But the reality check is sometimes they be scared, bro. Man, I ain't tell you what happened. This one church, this one white church, it was all white. They were so scared to book me as a Christian comedian. Believe it or not, they had me perform a month in advance just to make sure that I was the real deal. And afterwards, they showered me with so much love. It was unbelievable. And then the next month, I performed, and they blessed me, showered me with money and everything. But see, that's the thing. It's like how many loops do I have to jump through to prove to people that I'm on fire for Jesus? And so the favor of God is upon me. So I can't lose, bro. I told God this. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna close. I told God like years ago. It was 2016 to be exact. I told the Lord whether I do one show a year, 10 shows a year, 100,000 shows a year, it's all for God's kingdom. That way, I'm never disappointed. I'm not disappointed when the church tells me no. um, because I already know that they told a lot of black people in the 60s no. A lot of white churches, white pastors told black people you couldn't come into our church to worship. That's racism, bro. And no, they didn't go to heaven if they died like that. Because you don't get into heaven with hatred. If you believe that, you haven't read 1 Corinthians 13, Pastor. It's about love, bro. The thing that I'm more focused on is I'm gonna knock on that door. And if you don't want to let me in, it's cool. You may be religious. It may be a religious church. I can't act like every church is on fire for Christ. But I need to start showing love to the black churches, even if they can't really afford what my price is. Because I know what black people are doing. Black comics will go to white churches because they pay well. They got all the members. They got all the mega churches, so they pay very very well. If you go to a black church, they're gonna operate under that. It's not an impoverished mindset, but it's more like we're the same. Like, look out for me, brother. Look out for me, sister. We're the same skin tone. So let's do it either for free for Jesus, or let me give you like $50 and like a fried chicken drumstick. You know what I'm saying? It's like, ah, I don't know, man. So that's the reason why. And there's some churches that are big that are operated by black people, and like they just get kind of bougie too. Like there's this one church in Tulsa out north called Friendship Church, huge. And I think I reached out to them once or twice, never heard anything back. And that's the thing. It's like you. It's like you got to do special tricks for black people. So a lot of times, your best bet is to go to the white people, because once the white people accept you and start paying you well, like they've been paying me, and then the black churches just start wondering, like, man, well, why haven't we heard of them? Why haven't we booked them? So it's all a game, bro. I don't like to deal with disappointment. I don't like how that makes me feel emotionally, and so what I do is I tell God, like, hey, the show that we do tonight may be our last show for the year, Lord, unless you open another door. So you do it. I can't do it. All I can do is make a phone call, but you can move on a person's heart. And ever since then, God's just keeping me busy, man. But he knew after this comedy tour, I was gonna need a little break mentally, spiritually, just to kind of get recharged, man. A lot of times, comedians, musicians, we don't, or actors in Hollywood, they forget to get recharged and they get burnt out. And anything you do, you can get burnt out. You do it too much. Um, that's how I start retiring certain jokes, because you start repeating it over and over. You're like, man, I want something new, something fresh. So what I do now is I sit down and I evaluate some things. Is it going to be an all black crowd? Is it going to be an all white crowd? Is it going to be a diverse crowd? And whatever it ends up being, I'll have material just for that. And it's worked out for me, man. You don't have to, like, yeah, you do, I'm tripping. I was like, you don't have to write that many jokes, but you gotta have a lot of jokes. You gotta have a lot. You gotta have a lot, because you want to just keep throwing everything out there to make people laugh. And my set, it kind of flows, has a good pace to it. So, where do we go from here? Uh, one last time, uh, this summer, just write, rehearse, and go perform. I'm thinking if I should go make some Chinese food now. I bought some Kiev chains, but they're kind of hungry. But I don't know yet. But man, next week. You know what next week is? Next week is my birthday, bro. Oh man, I think I'm gonna take myself to Mahogany's. I've never been to that steakhouse before, but it's $100 a steak. Oh yeah, I'm getting money now. I'll see you at the end of the month, Mahogany's. God bless. We get money now. We get money now. We getting money now, cause God is good.